Hello?
Yes,
You audible? Just a second. We'll start with the page.
So let me know when, all right?
A very good morning, sir. Please tell me if I'm audible.
Yeah, you're audible. I can hear you.
Okay. Greetings to one and all present here. In the words of Oprah Winfrey, know what sparks the light in you, then use that light to illuminate the world. In this spirit, Asia's largest management fest, Business Conclave 2021, title sponsored by University of Warwick and co-sponsored by Nescafe and powered by Real 11, welcomes you to the second day of the most magnificent virtual festival of 2021. After the thunderous success of the event on day one, we are honored to invite your keen participation on the second day as well. As the sands of time mutate from a dune to a sacred colosseum, as we move ahead to transform the fetters of virtual limitations to the feathers of limitless galaxies. We are confident that today's finale will be the grandest you have ever witnessed and the most memorable you have ever experienced. SRCC Business Conclave has a legacy of celebrating the tapestry of the biggest, the greatest, and the most renowned faces from the fields of finance, politics, media, and entrepreneurship, circumscribing the most monumental leaps and through the most testing times, they have emerged as champions of human resolution and human willpower. We are honored to connect with them and are confident to exchange, to seal an exchange of wondrous insights and phenomenal words of wisdom.
Celebrating the conclave's international transcendence, we commence the nexus of excellence by welcoming our first international speaker for the day, who is joining us today live from the Silicon Valley, Mr. Kanwal Rekhi. Mr. Kanwal Rekhi is credited to be the first Indo-American founder and CEO to take a venture-backed company public on the Nasdaq. He is an Indian-American businessman, investor, entrepreneur, and presently a venture capitalist helping others build big businesses. He is currently serving as the managing director at Inventus Capital Partners. It's an honor, sir, to have you amongst us. With this, without taking much time, I would hand over the stage to you and request you to enlighten the young minds with your words of wisdom. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Tanisha, right? All right. Yeah, Good night to everybody. It's almost 9 p.m. here in California, and it's past my bedtime. I go to sleep around 8:30, 9 o'clock. So just to start by saying, how many of you have heard your parents say, "Beta entrepreneur bano," or "Beti entrepreneur bano"? Yeah, I hear Indian parents say, "Beta engineer bano, beta doctor bano," but no parent ever says, "Beta entrepreneur bano," unless your father was an entrepreneur or a business person himself. Yeah, and the entrepreneurship has not been a career of choice. Yeah, of late, we have entrepreneurship as a fad in India. Roughly about 40,000 startups, I am told now. Yeah, but in America, the entrepreneurs are the heroes. Of course, everybody knows about Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, but go back, Thomas Edison, Alexander Graham Bell, even further back, you can go back, Eli Whitney. So the America was built by entrepreneurs. And when I first came to America in 1967, the first thing I noticed right away was everything was privately owned. Railway companies, airlines, banks, you name it, everything was privately owned. Bus companies, banks. Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. Coming from India, where nothing, businesses were seen as a very bad thing. And you come to America, and the first thing you hear is the business of America is business. And so it was very jarring to me, as a person. But entrepreneurs are the wealth creators in the society. They are also the job creators in the society. There is no other good source of wealth creation or job creation in society. Government can create, a few million jobs. In the country of almost 1.4 billion in India, the government has created maybe 10 million jobs, 15 million jobs. You need to create billions of jobs. And that jobs are created by entrepreneurs. If 2% of the population becomes entrepreneurs, which is the number in the US, 2% of the population is entrepreneurs, that would mean India has about 20, 20, maybe 30 million entrepreneurs. And if each one creates only 20 jobs, that's about 600 million jobs. We have sort of believed that government can do it for us, my Baap Sarkar, and everybody wants a government job. But I'll tell you, the best of the governments don't create wealth, and they create very few jobs. So we have tried the top-down planned economy. I don't know how many plans we have had. Last time, I remember was 12th plan, 13th plan, but planning doesn't work. In a large, complex society, who knows what the world needs? Who knows what the technology will bring us? If you look at America, in 1980, the largest operations were General Motors, IBM. IBM and General Motors now have fewer employees than they had in 1980. Almost 75 to 80% of the jobs in America are created by companies which were formed since 1980. So there's a dynamism, there's a churning. In 1980 there was no cell phone, no internet. You go down the list, you have no personal computer. So no web jobs. So there's a constant churning of jobs that takes place because of the entrepreneurs. So the entrepreneurship is a personal quest to succeed as a person. You have to show the world what you're made of. Nobody from outside can tell you to become an entrepreneur, and nobody can induce you to become an entrepreneur. It has to be something from inside. So when I was a successful engineer in the 70s, I looked around and I said, why am I working for somebody? I am smarter than these people I work for. Why can I not be an entrepreneur? There was no history of Indian entrepreneurs in America. And of course, there was no history of family business. But one day I said, why not? Why not? Why can't I be an entrepreneur? So in 1982, at the age of about 36, I left my job. I was really doing really well. I was a top-notch engineer making really top-notch money. But I wanted to try my hand. I wanted to see if I was any good. And I left my job, and this was the age of IBM PC. PC was just launched in 81, before internet, before any of the other things happened. And there was this sense that these PCs will need to be networked. And I said, maybe I should do a network these PCs to all sorts of computers. Networking was unheard of at the time, but I left my job, and I was a very good engineer. So I designed hardware and software, to connect PCs to each other and speed, transfer data back and forth. And it was a very successful startup. By 1987, we were close to about 500 people, doing really well. And we went public on NASDAQ as the first company led by Indian Americans. But there was nobody telling me to do it. As a matter of fact, my wife was really upset at me because I left a job, which is a stable, high-paying job, and I wanted to try my hand at becoming an entrepreneur. But entrepreneur is a personal quest. The Indian word is, it's like doing tapasya. You do 3, 4, 5 years, to find yourself not in the jungle, but in the marketplace. And it's a lot of hardship. In the beginning, there's no salary, nothing seems to work. But you have to persevere. You have to persist, and eventually, you start to show the results. It takes about 4, 5, 6 years, sometimes as much as 10 years. In my case, it took 7 years from start to finish. And the only 1 to 2% of the population at large succeeds as an entrepreneur. 98 to 99% of people don't. So very poor arts, very poor arts. And so you have to convince yourself you are one of the best. You are one of the top 2% of the population, who will succeed, and then you have to prove it. And once you're successful, you're set for life. You're set for life. You have more money than you can imagine, and you have more satisfaction than you can imagine. You have more respect than you can imagine. But it takes time. It takes effort. It takes commitment. And India's future has to be entrepreneurs. India is a very poor country, very poor country. India needs to create massive amount of wealth. We need to have millions of entrepreneurs. A million new entrepreneurs every year need to emerge in India. If India is to ever succeed, it has to be on the back of its entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs will be India's new freedom. They will bring the economic freedom that India badly needs. India it's been stuck 73 years after the independence. 74 years, maybe stuck as one of the poorest countries in the world. Even China has moved on. China and India were at the same level in 1981. China is about 3 to 4 times, or maybe 5 times as rich as India. China allowed its entrepreneurs to take over and drive the process forward. I think India needs to become entrepreneurial. India needs to have the policy framework which encourages entrepreneurship on a massive scale. We have this Startup India program done by Modi government, but it's a Mickey Mouse program. It's a very Mickey Mouse program. 187-page definition of what a startup should be is this approval and that approval, and it's a lot of nonsense in there. It's a free market, free expression of a free mind. That's what we need to do. We need to have a policy framework which money flows from anywhere to the entrepreneurs freely, and entrepreneurial success is rewarded in the marketplace. In India, you can't do this, you can't do that. This is a regulation, that's a regulation. It's nonsense. We need to remove all that. We need to let the entrepreneurship happen at a large scale. Indians are one of the most entrepreneurial people in the world. We leave India, become Silicon Valley, and we really do well. We really do well. The Silicon Valley has, maybe 5% of the population is Indian American. 30% of the entrepreneurs here in the Valley are Indian Americans. Just imagine that 6 times, their numbers. So we know we are entrepreneurial people. We know we have what it takes to become entrepreneurs. We need to do that in India on a large scale. So maybe I'll leave at that and see if anybody wants to ask me something for next 5-10 minutes. Is there a process there? Anjali or Tanisha? Or should I?
No, sir, you can continue. So you can continue.
We'll just
I should
open.
tell you, all right. So I'll tell you the whole process of entrepreneurship. Eventually, it's a self-expression. Where I tell people that So let me give you another example. The entrepreneurship are very disciplined people, but at the same time they don't seem to be disciplined. When the parents say, "Beta, settle ho jao," beta, you're not a child anymore. Beta, you need to be a responsible person. Entrepreneurs are irresponsible, indisciplined in people's mind, but that's not the case. They have super discipline to do what they want to do, pursue their dream, but to the rest of the world, they are not conforming to the norms of the society. And the same is true with respect to the being responsible. How come you are not making any money? How come you don't have a job? How come you don't do this and that? So there's this expectation from society, which is very, very hard for society to understand that entrepreneurs are not here to make money in the short term. They are here to make a difference. They are here to make a difference. And that's the dream, that's the burning desire. Making money is a very poor motivation. You can make money, good salary, by doing and working for an MNC. It will be several years, of hardship and no money, before you make any money. So the parents don't encourage, society doesn't encourage, but long term, the societies depend upon their entrepreneurs. And as Indians have shown in the IT industry, it came from nowhere. It wasn't something which was planned by anybody. It came from nowhere in early 90s, and has become one of the largest employers and one of the largest wealth producers in India. Same thing is happening with respect to the pharmaceutical industry. But we need to do entrepreneurship in the sector where it really matters. The farm sector, the agriculture sector. India is stuck in the stone age. With respect to the farming, agricultural stuff. We still use same methods that we used 100 years ago, 200 years ago. India needs to become, entrepreneurs need to bring modern technology, modern methods, modern science, to bear upon the food production. The drip irrigation system, instead of producing this massive waste of water. So entrepreneurship needs to happen in every walk of life. Entrepreneurs are the innovators. They are the change agents, and we need to show to the world, that we can do in India what we have done outside India. The Indians are the best entrepreneurs in Africa, in England, in America. Why not in India itself? So I leave at that, and I don't know if I need to do any further into any more details. It's all about a personal challenge. It's a personal goals, personal quest. Is it tapasya? Is 3, 4, 5 years of that. And I'm glad to see it's starting to happen. 40,000 entrepreneurs in a country of 1.4 billion people. We need to produce 1% of the population as entrepreneur. 1 million plus every year, a new entrepreneurs, 1 million plus. And let the best of the brightest step forward and do it. And let's celebrate our entrepreneurs. And 20 years of entrepreneurship in India on a massive scale will transform India, and India will become a superpower that it deserves to be. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. It was truly a very enlightening session. There is just one question that I'm getting repeatedly, that what would be a one advice to the struggling entrepreneurs right now, and to our college students, and to all the audience that is present here? I'm sure that many of them are aspiring entrepreneurs, but there is a lot of risk involved, so which is taking them, enabling them to take a back seat. So what is your one advice to all of them?
Every entrepreneur goes through a struggle, a personal struggle. Nothing seems to work. Nothing seems to work. There's no support from anybody, no family support, no societal support. Everybody thinks you're crazy. Everybody thinks you're crazy. Why the heck are you doing? Why can't you be like everybody else and get a nice job? But you have to persevere and persist. I tell people that there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. When you think you're at the bottom of the world, when nothing seems to be working, when it looked like things cannot get any worse. The next step is always up. Next step is always up. When you're at the bottom of the valley, bottom of the world, next step is up. And it takes 2, 3, 4 years of sustaining the fire, without any encouragement, without any support, without anything from outside. And eventually it does what? If you have within you the fire and the staying power, it eventually does what. I've seen it over and over. In my case, it was 2 years of self-doubt. Am I doing the right thing? Why am I doing this thing? Why am I putting my family through the hardship? But eventually things do start to work. Once you start to understand, there's this constant learning that takes place. Am I doing the right thing for the market? Why aren't customers buying from me? Why am my stuff doesn't work? So there's this learning, and that you have to evolve, and you have to persist.
Thank you so much, sir. And there is one more question from Kushagra Agarwal, that how to create a successful team, as in for a startup, because team is the most important element in that.
So entrepreneurs have to have a team of equals. You cannot have people where you can shout orders on them, because all the early partners that you have are taking the same risk as you are. They are taking substandard salary, and the chances of the business may not work, are same for them as for you. So you have to have this attitude of, they are my teammates, they are not my employees, and show them the respect. Share the equity, the ownership in the startup, with them. Be generous, and share the credit. Don't share the blame. Share the credit with everybody. The early team players, made all the difference. 2-3 of them, maybe 4 at most. You need to come together in some real close fashion. Where there's a shared aspiration, shared everything, and you need to find complementary skills. If you are an engineer, find a marketing person. You need a finance person or a sales person. So you need to have a complementary set of skills in the team.
Thank you so much, sir. With this, we come to an end of our session. Thank you for joining in. I'm sure that the student community would have found value in all the words. And thank you for motivating us for taking risk in life. And I'm sure that all the people, audience here, would imbibe many of all the things that you have said. Thank you once again on behalf of our college fraternity for joining us. Thank you so much, sir.
Just don't do it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Sure, sir.
Bye-bye.